Speaking about Matt Riddle's release from WWE, Rob Van Dam said on his One of a Kind podcast, "I met Matt Riddle at the Playboy Mansion at a party years ago after The Ultimate Fighter. This was a medical marijuana policy project fundraiser, which they used to have annually at the Playboy Mansion, and then eventually Hugh quit having parties at the mansion from outsiders, and then it just went all downhill after that. But that's where I had met him, so a lot of people think that's a pretty cool story, and he seems to not be able to stay out of trouble. He'll get another chance, I'm sure, but I feel like he got so many chances that they felt like they're not going to be taken seriously unless some consequences are shown. I think they'll be temporary, and that could be by the universe, not necessarily by the company, but he'll definitely go somewhere productive from here, and hopefully he'll quit sending dick pics or whatever it is that he's doing on his off time that gives him so much heat." At the post-Wrestle Dream Media Scrum, AEW President Tony Khan addressed Jade Cargill's departure from the promotion, saying, "I knew Jade's contract was running up and I was very interested in having her, and I made an offer, a very big offer. I thought it was fair. And then she asked for a bigger offer and I went up again. I kind of thought that was going to do it, and it didn't, which I was surprised because, to be honest, I came up with a number that was higher than her original ask. So I don't know what I'd have to do at that point, so I was surprised." As there was speculation recently that Triple H and Stephanie McMahon might be getting a divorce, Kevin Nash said this on his Click This podcast. "I text Paul, I said, 'You okay? Everything all right? I'm here if you need anything.' He's just like, 'What's happening in my life?' I said, 'Social media says that you're splitting with Stephanie and you guys are getting a divorce.' He responds to me, 'F it. I wish somebody would have told me that before I get dragged to this JV football game and my girls cheerleading.' He says, 'I just love to find out about what's going on in my life through the internet.' I'm sure that probably would upset me because he finally probably has a day off where it's family time, and it's just like, no man, some troll's gonna mess with you on your day off." Following Riddle's WWE release, plans for him had to be cancelled, as WrestleVotes noted. Prior to his departure from the company, I'm told there were significant plans for a Matt Riddle-Drew McIntyre tag team. So much so, various merchandise items were designed with the team name McRiddle. This is not a joke. Explaining why WWE is pushing Ivar as a single star, the Wrestling Observer newsletter said the decision was made because Ray Rowe is out after surgery, said to be for at least 6 months, is to push Ivar as a singles player. In the past, when one member of a tag team that's usually an exclusive team gets hurt, they've just not used the other much. While Johnny Gargano returned to WWE recently and reunited with Tomaso Ciampa, there were previous plans for them that were nixed, as Sean Ross Sapp revealed. Fightful Select has learned that there were active plans this summer to reunite Johnny Gargano and Tomaso Ciampa on WWE TV, as hinted at on episodes of WWE Raw. However, this was one of many stories that got nixed and effectively dropped. The June 19th episode of Raw saw many changes, including a planned World Heavyweight Championship Open Challenge match. We reported at the time that Tomaso Ciampa was scheduled to answer the Open Challenge, but there was much more to it than that. When we reported that, many readers said that Ciampa's return shouldn't have resulted in an immediate loss. However, that was far from the end of the story. Ciampa was to answer the Open Challenge, and the match would be ruined fairly quickly by Judgment Day. A returning Johnny Gargano, who was backstage in his hometown of Cleveland, would then make the save, reuniting DIY. Ringside News added, it was also reported that plans for Johnny Gargano and Tomaso Ciampa underwent significant changes in the days leading up to their match, ultimately leading to the match being canceled. Some individuals involved expressed frustration over these changes. Following the cancellation, Johnny Gargano was absent from television for over 3 months until his return on October 2nd. With AEW facing technical issues with their show last Wednesday, Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful said, on last week's episode of AEW Dynamite, there were several audio issues through the TBS feed. The situation persisted on the October 5th episode, but that wasn't the biggest problem. Warner Brothers Discovery sources confirmed with us that they became aware of a mistake regarding AEW Dynamite's listing yesterday morning across multiple providers that likely caused viewership issues. The WBD source called all of the issues inexcusable and admitted they felt bad for them. Speaking of the dead man, Adam Copeland said this about Taker's role in making the move to AEW, telling Sports Illustrated, "I'm driven by challenges. If you're not going to stick around as long as the guys who are due. There is a reason The Undertaker lasted as long as he did. He thrived on challenges and challenged himself to recreate his character and to see if he could hang with those new talents. For me, it's really significant to have a blank canvas at this point in my career." Going over Adam Copeland's AEW Dynamite debut, the Wrestling Observer newsletter pointed out that his debut on AEW television drew a disappointing rating due to the cable and DVR mess-up situation. But even factoring that in, the number would have been in the realm of usual. They went against 2 baseball wildcard series games as well, but with 800,000 and a .28 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic, Copeland, even factoring that in, did not move numbers to any appreciable degree for his TV return and mission statement. It looks more like he could be an entertaining character and have good matches like Christian is, but not be a needle mover just being there. When someone switches promotions, as we've seen with Cody Rhodes and Will with Jade Cargill, it's like they come in with a fresh coat of paint. Everything is new and fresh. The expectations should be for Copeland to be able to have fun, have more creative freedom than he had, and have fresh matches with new opponents. As far as being a difference maker, I don't believe there are any magic bullets. Even if he did pop a rating at first, and him not doing so is absolutely a disappointment in the long run, that's really what the reasonable hope for Copeland should be. Someone who gives you good matches and interviews, does programs where they have effect and consistent stories, and helps teach the younger talent. Talking about the possibility of Mercedes Moné showing up on AEW programming, the Wrestling Observer noted that Mercedes Moné is now out of her walking boot. She still kept her timetable quiet about returning to wrestling. The expectation, given they showed her at All In the crowd more than once, is that she would be working here and with New Japan and or Stardom. As Matt Riddle was released by WWE recently, he could be set to negotiate a boxing match. As the Wrestling Observer said, still there were at least talks that were expected to take place this week regarding Jake Paul versus Riddle. At best, the talk right now should be categorized as very preliminary. Ultimately, it's a call that will be made on Paul's side. If it's boxing rules, it's likely an easy, safe fight for Paul, and Riddle would be doing it for a payday. If it's MMA rules, it's intriguing because Paul would be younger and has been fighting while Riddle hasn't, and the size isn't an issue like it was with Paul boxing guys like Nate Diaz and Tyron Woodley. But Riddle has kept up his jiu-jitsu training throughout his WWE career. There are wrestling companies who would have shown interest, but no deal is believed to be close to happening, nor could any until December 20th. The baggage that led to him being fired by WWE is obviously going to be a factor in any decision making by the companies. Mentioning the toll that professional wrestling has taken on his body, Hulk Hogan said this about the state of his body to Chris Van Vliet. "I can't push a glass door open. Even in the gym, it's short strokes. I can't straighten my arms out, and it's the same with my knees and my hips, my back, my neck. But that's because I probably wrestled too long and I didn't get the memo that that stuff was fake. And I don't complain about it because, like I was telling Sky, she goes, 'Well, how much pain are you in?' And I tell her I'm in pain all the time, but I'm used to it. I had a physical therapist ask me the other day if you could be out of pain or you could have a perfect championship walk to the ring, which would you rather have? And I said, I'd rather have the walk. She goes, 'You're out of your mind.' And I tell her, yes, I am, because everything hurts just like gum. It's hard to explain, but when I brush my teeth and I lean on the counter to brush my teeth, I can't push away. So when I'm done brushing my teeth, I have to lean in and then pull back. I've been down that road with the pain pills. The last 12 years, I've had 25 surgeries. The knees, the hips, 10 back surgeries, and a couple shoulder surgeries, abdominal surgeries, orbital socket surgery. So I know what it's like when the doctor goes, 'Here's your prescription.' Sometimes when you're in such pain after 7, 9, 10 back surgeries, you'd rather just jump off a cliff than live another day. It's real easy to fall in that situation, and a lot of other wrestlers who've passed away have fallen into that situation. It's just a more natural way to walk things off, a more natural way to get on track and get back to normal, so it makes a lot of sense for a lot of reasons to me. During that same interview, Hogan revealed that he signed a new Legends deal with WWE, saying, I still work with the WWE all the time, I just renewed my deal with them, and does that mean we can hear your music hit sometime soon? I hope so. It's always fun to go out there, and maybe I can hang on to one of the wrestlers to get me out to the ring. But it's really crazy, because when I was the world's champion, we sold a ton of merchandise. We didn't have the vehicle to the internet and the stuff that they have nowadays, but we sold a lot of stuff, back in the day. The cartoon was very supportive of the merchandise and stuff like that, and it was kind of strange because I think I had 350 licenses, which are like individual deals, frisbees, watches, headbands, chalk, kites, potty seats, tennis shoes, whatever it may be. And now that I'm kind of like Jimmy Hart says, well, baby, what's old is new again, what's old is new again, and I said, Jimmy, you're right. I've been approving merchandise every day, I get new stuff coming in, and I'm up to like 850,000, like 900,000 pieces of merchandise. I'm sorry, I'm mistaken, it's 300 different agencies. I'm up to 900 licenses, not 900,000. I'm thinking wrong. But instead of 300 deals for frisbees or whatever, it's up to almost 900. Yeah, so it's like Elvis is still alive. It's kind of crazy. I don't know. But it's just amazing how the fans have made this live forever, it's amazing. Speaking of signing new deals with WWE, Kevin Nash said this on his Click This podcast when noting what it would take for him to sign with All Elite Wrestling. Unless it's 5 or 6 million and a private jet, the only thing that would have got me to AEW, but WWE just signed. As she suffered a torn MCL back in January, NXT star Nikitta Lyons was asked on X about an update on her injury and when she'd be returning to WWE. Lyons simply replied, writing soon. Asked about the attendance numbers for AEW's All In London event at Wembley Stadium, a fan wrote this to Dave Meltzer. What about all the sold shirts with the wrong number on it and Ospreay's tattoo? Will the shirts be updated like this number? Meltzer replied, for whatever reason, AEW made the decision to announce paid attendance rather than total, which is unusual for pro wrestling historically. AEW President Tony Khan chimed in, writing, the reason I announced the actual paid attendance, 81,035 tickets sold, instead of saying over 85,000 tickets distributed, is because our 81,035 sold at AEW All In at Wembley Stadium in London is the all-time ticket sales record, whereas WCW North Korea shows hold ticks distributed record. Responding to the announcement of Powerhouse Hobbs taking on Chris Jericho on AEW Dynamite, a fan wrote, what will the reason be that Jericho wins or won't lose cleanly? Jericho then said, I'm a selfish MFer that only cares about myself. Duh. Giving an update on his health, Kyle O'Reilly, who has been out of action from AEW for over a year now, wrote on Instagram, I had my neck fused last September to fix some nerves that had gotten themselves compressed somehow. I'm sure a career of landing on my head for a living played a role, but sadly we'll never know. Regardless, I had been in pain and losing strength in my right arm for some time, and no amount of tape or denial could delay my surgery any longer. Unfortunately, I suffered from a rare post-surgical complication, and suddenly I couldn't move my arm at all. C5 palsy, the doctor said, and nerves take a long time to heal. So I was left to be patient and test my perseverance. Needless to say, it was disheartening to relearn activities like brushing my teeth and wiping my ass with my left hand. My career wasn't in question any longer, it was my quality of life. But focusing on what I could control every day kept me sane, such as being the best father I could possibly be. Every other moment has been spent rehabbing, dry needling, and training. A few months ago, I discovered the newbie device, an electric stim machine that runs on direct current akin to the human nervous system. The machine has many terrific uses, but specializes in helping those with post-surgical neurological injuries. Within a month of using the newbie, I once again had full range of motion in my shoulder. My nerves are all online again and firing with enough power to get the dinosaurs back in their pins. Grateful for the support of my friends and fans over this last year, and to the newbie device and my trainer and diet coach for not only giving me back my quality of life, but for getting me me closer to my ultimate goal, a return to the ring. The wrestling ring has felt like an oasis in the desert for me these last 12 months. I know if I keep walking I'll eventually reach it, but I don't know if it'll just disappear when I get there like a mirage. I'm so parched, all I want to do is get to the oasis and drink to quench my thirst, but I have to be careful or I'll trip in the sand or collapse from the heat. I guess that's why this is taking so long, patience and perseverance. The good news is I can see the oasis now. It's definitely not a mirage. Despite Bray Wyatt's unfortunate passing, it seems that there could be hope for his brother Bo Dallas to return to WWE as Uncle Howdy, with it said that Ringside News was told by a tenured member of the creative team that Triple H is always open to ideas from the writers and there are always ideas regarding different talents. That being said, Triple H has not shut down hearing ideas that would bring Uncle Howdy back to television. We were told that I'm sure someone has pitched a creative idea to bring Uncle Howdy back into the creative picture. That being said, an idea of Uncle Howdy's return is not coming from the top down, it's coming from pitches. Triple H is open to hearing ideas instead of dictating. Of course, dictating always became Vince McMahon's pattern, but it's a new era in WWE right now where ideas flow a bit more freely. Giving details on CM Punk's recent possible interactions with WWE following his firing from AEW, Sean Ross Sapp Fightful said, as of 2 weeks ago, nobody within WWE had indicated that CM Punk and the company had talks. In late September, we were told that it appeared there were feelers out from Punk to WWE to see if there was any interest there. One WWE employee as of last month advised someone close to Punk that talking to Vince McMahon directly would have been the best course of action to secure a return to the company. In the past, we're told Vince McMahon was adamant to Fox that he wasn't interested in bringing Punk back, though Fox had been pushing for it before he went to AEW. Nobody in WWE had been told that a return is happening, and most top talent are opposed to it. However, they don't feel it's an impossibility, and both those close to Punk and WWE believe Punk would do it, but there are fences to mend. One top star said that Punk knows he wouldn't be able to pull any of his here. There's nobody here he could jump without getting his ass handed to him. When we brought that up, WWE would likely want to talk to top talent about Punk coming in. That same person said the talk really needed to be with Punk. Another top talent said that they believe Triple H wouldn't risk the negativity that Punk would bring, but then did recall that it wouldn't be the first time that he's brought someone in with baggage since being in control. The general feeling we got was that Punk would need to make good with a number of influential talent in general. Within AEW, one top star said that before Brawl Out happened, Punk would still verbalize how much he didn't like WWE, Triple H, and Vince McMahon, and would be surprised if he went back there. Another said now he's in a much less forgiving situation from a career perspective. Staying on the topic of CM Punk, Ringside News wrote that according to multiple WWE sources, while WWE is aware that Punk is available and there have been internal discussions amongst talents about what a Punk return could look like, there are no official talks happening at this time. Impact Wrestling had hopes of bringing Punk in for appearances, but as of now, nothing has been confirmed on that front either. With both Bound for Glory and Survivor Series taking place in Chicago, they could serve as natural locations for a Punk appearance. One WWE source mentioned to PW Insider that the idea of a grand return at the Royal Rumble, stating, if we brought Punk back, Royal Rumble could be a far grander moment if we brought him back. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later.